Hello, and welcome back to Somatic Tip Wednesday on a Thursday. Yesterday was a very full day for me, so we're going to do this today instead. Welcome. If you are new to this series, this is something that I usually do every Wednesday, and we are halfway through this series. This is video número 6. Number 6. There are about 12 in the series, so super excited. Like I said, if you're new to this, I would say probably start at the beginning. I say this every single video because there's a reason why they are stacked in the way that they are stacked. Hopefully you have a moment to do this along with me. And if not, maybe rewatch this video when you have a moment. So, by the way, before I get into this, I just want to say that I have so much coming through right now. There's so much that I look forward to sharing with you all. Like I literally have posts freaking backlogged in my mind of things that I need to share with you guys. So yeah, anyways, okay, let's get right into it. So today's video on self-somatic tips is about pendulation. Last week, we were sort of tracking what was going on in the body through a particular story that Peter shared, right? Again, this is the work of Peter Levine. And today we're gonna introduce the concept of pendulation. This is really important. So first, I wanna say that typically when you go and tend to or pay attention to different sensations or experiences that are happening inside of your body, usually there is a down-regulating effect to that. So usually we actually feel more calm, more grounded, more stable and centered. However, sometimes if we're not used to tending to our internal world, it can be a little bit jarring. We may be kind of new to this whole thing, and sometimes it can cause a spike in a particular sensation, anxiety, whatever it is that is going on inside of you. But what's very interesting and very important to notice is that there is always a flow and a rhythm to these things, which means that it's finite. It doesn't last forever. It's temporary. And there is usually waves, meaning there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Very important, because what I've noticed within myself and other people that I've worked with is that when a negative emotion or something that feels uncomfortable comes up, a lot of times there's a fear, especially if it's something like depression or something that a person has a lived experience of lasting for a prolonged period of time. Even if it's just uncomfortable, there's just this like fear or resistance that can automatically crop up of like, oh my God, what if this lasted forever? Because it's so uncomfortable. And as we start to kind of make it a practice to start to tap into our internal experience, what we realize is that that is absolutely not the case. That even if we're really locked down into a kind of a smaller range of that pendulation. Pendulation just means that there's a rhythm, there's a movement from something that's uncomfortable to something that's generally more pleasant. Even if there's a small range of that, right, just little mini blips, there are still differences in the way that we're feeling. And that can help the body to start to get in touch with this rhythm. And this rhythm means that we're actually moving time forward. And this is part of the process of reorganizing our systems. So, with that being said, we're going to do this exercise together. So, maybe you're standing, whatever, find a comfortable seat. And I want you to imagine, I want to say, okay, right before I actually do this, is that there's an extended version of this that I would use like in a client session with somebody that goes into kind of the heavier side of things. But for the sake of today and for what the self-somatic exercise is, because we're just getting started with this, we're going to start with something that's very positive. One other thing too is that when I have you imagine what it is that you're going to be imagining, and bringing up within your own like thought form as an image or a thought, I don't want you to be attached. Like, try not to be attached to anything that comes up. Try not to, go searching for any particular emotional experience or memories, or like try to kind of imagine that you're by the banks of a river and you're just watching the water kind of flow over the rocks. You're just watching time pass. We're just with almost like a detachment in a way. If something comes up, right, then that's fine. But just try not to go searching for anything. Okay. So I want you to imagine or bring forth the last time that you felt today, that you felt most like yourself, or you felt most like how you want to usually feel. Maybe you felt most embodied, or you felt the least amount of anxiousness or the least amount of discomfort. And so as you make contact with that thought, if you're a visual person, you might be able to see an image very strongly. So take yourself back for a moment to that point today where you felt most like yourself, the least amount of discomfort. And then what you're going to do is that with that thought or image, is you're going to start to move your attention back and forth between that image or thought and the sensations that are happening in your body. So we can pendulate between different sensations in the body, something that's uncomfortable and something that feels more comfortable. So like maybe an example of that would be my chest feels uncomfortable, but the tip of my nose, there's not a whole lot going on there. And we can also pendulate between a particular image and the sensations. And so that's what we're doing in this moment. So as you just in your own pace, at your own rhythm, bring yourself back to that moment today where you felt most like yourself. And then back into the body and notice, like this kind of detached observer, what sensations are happening in your body. I'm just going to give you about 20 seconds just because I'm very briefly modeling what this looks like, to just go back and forth between those two things. Okay, and now we're just going to take this one step farther and say, go ahead and think of another time, but this week, where you felt most like yourself. Again, same premise, but we're just widening the time frame. And again, once you have that thought, maybe it was hanging out with a friend, maybe you went to a park, maybe you were relaxing, maybe it was taking a nice hot shower, maybe you felt really accomplished after you cleaned your kitchen. Just a time where you felt most like yourself this week. Bring that image in, that thought, and then again, just start to pendulate or move at your own rhythm between that image and the sensations that are happening in your body. And I'm just going to invite you to notice where you can feel the sensations. What was the quality of your breath? Did the quality of your breath shift or change? Did you notice any of the sensations shifting or changing as you paid attention to them? Very simple. Now, in the extended version of this, and you can spend, a longer period of time doing this, but in the extended version of this, we go into what we start to do is we start to stack this. So this is building positive rapport with the body. We don't want to always just go into the body and go, what are you noticing in there? What sensations are coming up when we're dealing with like trauma or negative things, right? Because then what we're going to learn is that every time we're going into the body, there's something is going to be uncomfortable. So we really are building this foundation, these resources, to know that we can access the body through pleasure, right? And for some of us, pleasure is a little disconnected because we're used to kind of living in our pain body. So we're starting to build up those pleasurable experiences and a reconnection to sensation within the body, expanding our vocabulary, our language to actually describe these things. And then eventually what we would do is we would work our way into an event or a time where you felt like something was extremely challenging for you, but you actually overcame it. So again, what we're building up is the I can within the being. We track through, we do that whole thing. And when you go deeper within this, if you're not comfortable with what's coming up, or you feel like you might need support with this, that would be a really good time to link up with somebody like myself to go a little deeper. Then the stage after that, right, once we have that integrated, we want to really take our time to make sure that the body and the nervous system have come back to homeostasis baseline. Then the last thing we would go into is what's the challenging or difficult event that's happening that we haven't actually overcome yet. And then we can start to, through having all this capacity that we've built up and discharged some energy from that kind of intermediary where it was really challenging, but I was able to get through it, then we're able to go into that last piece. So that's all that I have for you today. That's all I have for you today. I look forward to seeing those of you who will be at the May 14th workshop. And yeah, I hope that you have a beautiful day wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.